Right, I'm going to record a commentary for this match. The speed is ×4, so we're going to try and keep up. We have the Discotroll player on the left and the deck player on the right. There's only space for a 7-minute video during in this editing program, so I'm going to keep this to one game. And we see the deck player lays out an underground sea, and the Discotroll answers with an island and an ancestral recall, and that resolves. And then it is the turn of the deck player. He plays Tundra and says go. Discotroll plays another land, this time Volcanic Island, and plays a lightning bolt to the face of the Discotroll player and ends up discarding a Sonic Blast. So I guess the Ancestral Recall didn't find him any Moxes or anything. So he has to discard. And some more land go, and then there's a Siege Troll played by the Discotroll player, which is then countered by the deck player, countered back with a red elemental blast from the Discotroll player, and then spell blasted by the deck player. So the Siege Troll does not resolve. And now it is the deck player who has a Black Lotus and 4 lands. He sacks the Lotus for 3 mana and plays an Abyss. So a problem for the Siege Troll player, since the Siege Troll card is not able to use its regenerate ability because the Abyss says bury a creature in upkeep. But Discotroll player finds a Nevral's Disc, which is untapped, so the deck player did not have an answer for the Nevral's Disc, so the Discotroll player is able to answer the Abyss. And let's see what his follow-up is. It's another Siege Troll, so now the Siege Troll can survive because there's no Abyss, but it then gets sworded at the end of turn by the deck player. And then the deck player follows up with a Jayemdae Tome, very important card for the deck, which resolves, but the Discotroll player finds an answer again within another disc, second disc, but that gets disenchanted by the deck player. Still hasn't drawn a card from Jayemdae Tome, and the third disc from the Discotroll player. So lots of Nevral's Discs from the Discotroll player. That seems to be a recall for a disenchant to disenchant the Nevral's Disc, and we see a Mind Twist for 2 from the deck player, and which is then countered. And the Discotroll player has 2 cards in hand, while the deck player has 0. But it seems that unless the Discotroll player has an answer for the Jayemdae Tome, the deck player is going to draw his first card from the artifact. Which is exactly what happens, and some shuffling of lands and then passing the turn. And let's see what the Discotroll player is able to do. He plays a Djinn, which then gets countered. So very lucky that the deck player there top decks a counterspell from the Jayemdae Tome. So very lucky there. And another land from the Discotroll player. He has 2 cards in hand, and the deck player also has 2 cards in hand, but he has an active Jayemdae Tome, so he should be drawing lots of cards, and a Fireball for 10, which then gets countered, and the deck player is now drawing cards from the Jayemdae Tome. It would appear two turns in a row, and he also gets in for 2 with his Mishra's Factory. So the first bit of damage dealt by the deck player there, and he gets attacked by the Discotroll player with his Mishra's Factory, and then draws a card, Jayemdae Tome, at end of turn, and then attacks with his own factory and plays a Time Walk. Gets in for another 2 on his next turn, and he is taking control of the match. It would appear he's drawing cards, and he disenchants the Mishra's Factory of the Discotroll player. So now the Discotroll player has only lands and 2 cards in hand, and the deck player, is taking control, and now also has an active Library of Alexandria, so really getting cards. And there's a Fireball for lethal, actually. The deck player is on 11, and that is X equal to 12. So let's see if the deck player has a counterspell here. It doesn't seem like he does. So this could be it. But the deck player draws a card, Jayemdae Tome. Let's see if he found a counterspell. No, he is going to Swords to Plowshare his own Mishra's Factory to gain 2 life, to go up to 13 and then be dealt 12 damage, and now he is at 1 life, and then follows up with an Abyss. So a creative way to stay alive there to negate the Fireball. Still gets dealt 12 damage, so he's still only on 1 life, so in danger of getting burned out by the Discotroll player, and also if somehow the Discotroll player is able to attack with his Mishra's Factory, that would also be lethal. But the deck player is really in control and finds another Jayemdae Tome and disenchants the Mishra's Factory, and is also able to counterspell a Psionic Blast on the side of the Discotroll player. So lots of answers coming up from the deck player. He's really drawing cards all the time and coming up with answers. And now let's see, there's a Demonic Tutor from the Discotroll player, which gets mana drained. And the deck player then draws another card, and he has some mana from the mana drain to use in his main phase, which he uses for a Chaos Orb. And again, he's getting in with Mishra's Factory for some damage there. So, and there is a Mind Twist for a good number of cards. But the deck player has an answer, and this time in the way of a Spell Blast. But this, of course, means he can't draw with Jayemdae Tome because he has a City of Brass as one of the 4 untapped lands, so he would kill himself if he used that. So didn't get to draw a Jayemdae Tome card right there. But he is still drawing. Active Library Alexandria gets in for another 2 with his Mishra's Factory. Seems to be counting some lands, maybe a Fireball coming up, but nope, he discards for turn. And the Discotroll player finds a disc, which then gets disenchanted, and then a Demonic Tutor into Fireball, and that's the end of the game.